Oh no. I thought that was a bad dream. Broken. Well guys, what we have for you today is a new project car. It's not my project car, but it is a 2008 Chrysler 300C, all-wheel drive as you saw from the intro. This car belongs to my best friend. He comes down once a year, we hang out, go shoot some guns, talk shit, you know, the usual. And this year he decided to drive down here instead of fly down here. Unfortunately, with all of the maintenance he had done to this car, all the fluids and brakes and some other stuff, still didn't make it. Walking backwards from what you see, using our basic steps of failure analysis, what had happened, fans came apart, punched a hole in the radiator, engine ran hot. He was stuck in a construction zone, cones on both sides, nowhere to go, single lane traffic. Finally managed to get off and basically coasted into a gas station, and that was it. AC had stopped blowing cold, of course. That was one of his first things he noticed. It all happened fairly quick. These things are just kind of known for that. Being a pre-Eagle, an 03 to an 08, whatever reason, whether it's metallurgy or just tolerances, the valve seats like to drop out of the head when they get too hot. Granted, it made it about 2 hours east from where I'm located. Then the phone calls started, a few back and forths here and there. Tried to let it cool down, but in hindsight, of course, the damage had already been done. But went and picked them up, got it back here, got it running. And pretty much realized there was a problem. Never a good sign. But these are good little engines. Other than that Achilles heel, no variable cams, no variable intakes to worry about. It's all pretty straightforward. So as you can see from the close-ups, we lost number one valve on the intake side. Rocker arm's not supposed to be up that high. The engine, it will not let you turn it over by hand. So today we're just going to pull this cylinder head off just to check the damage to the block. I'm sure the wall is galled up because you're talking about a steel insert that's gone. So all that metal had to go somewhere. This was all kind of tore apart in the front yard, in the driveway under duress because, you know, a little bit of mild panic setting in when you're 1,200 miles from home in your only means of transportation, and it's making some really bad noises. So likely we're just going to get a replacement long block. There is a engine rebuilder distributor about 45 minutes from my house that has these with the MDS. As much as I'd like to build one of these, honestly, the price for a reman long block is pretty close to just piecing one together ourselves. So we'll see what happens. I've got to price some stuff out for him and we'll go from there. So my buddy's owned this car roughly a year. I can't remember exactly. But But we're all thrilled for him when he finally bought one of these again, because he's not shy to this platform. Back in 2005, he bought a brand new one. I want to say his was a 06 model or 05. He'll correct me later. But brand new, right off the showroom floor. And that particular car was almost totaled, and I was in the passenger seat. We had got T-boned going through an intersection, and I still remember we had just gotten food, and I still remember I was holding the drinks, and my massive 32 ounce or whatever it was, raspberry iced tea flew up and landed right on the dash and just so. And of course, like a month or so later, he gets the car back. It was pretty bad. I don't know how they didn't total it, but with it being that new, I guess, I don't remember. He knows all the numbers. But, you know, he gets the car back. It's just not the same. Little panel gaps, all these tiny little things you notice as an owner buying it new. It didn't something about it was just 1% off, you know, both with feel and appearance, and that was enough to always bother him, and I don't blame him. You work that hard and buy something brand new for somebody else to take that away from you. But life moved on. He decided the most fiscally responsible thing for him to do at that time was to just get out from under the car. He was kind of over it at that point. So, but he always wanted the car back, but the all-wheel drive version, because being up north, he had to drive it in the snow a few times, and it was effectively useless. I mean, it got around, but he said, no, next time I buy one, it's going to be all-wheel drive. So, like I said, he got rid of that in 06. So all these years later, to buy one in 24, we're all happy for him to get his car back. And it's got every option but the infotainment center, or the rear entertainment center, which on these cars, they don't do the headrest thing. They offered well, in 2005 anyway, they offered that was the center console, like kind of flipped up a certain way, and there was like a little TV in there or something. I'll have to get him to give me some pictures of it or whatever, but mileage is relatively low. I could simply just put the key in, but it's like 108 something. It's a shame because it made it. He's kept up on all the maintenance, and the previous owner took very good care of it, but again, you just have that Achilles heel with these engines, that things happen. All right, guys, as I've said earlier, I've got obviously the intake and the valve cover off of this side. I've got the two plugs out of this cylinder. I had made an attempt to bore scope everything with a little mirror and stuff. I've got all the attachments, but really can't tell what's going on. It doesn't make that much of a difference anyway. So we're going to go ahead and just unbolt the little two bolts there at the flange of the cat. And we're just going to pull the manifold with the cylinder head. We should, it'll be a little bit of bumping and self-clearancing, but we'll get it out. It's trash anyway. I'm 99% sure the short block is not going to be reusable. I don't know if these can be punched out 30 over or 40 over. I don't think that's a route he's going to want to go anyway, because you still need to upgrade the cylinder heads with the hardened seats and everything. And again, like I mentioned before, it's way more effective to just buy a pre-rebuilt long block with the better lifters, the better valve seats, and so on and so on. Actually, I have a better idea. I'm going to use my new toy. Yes. You can see that worked out perfect. Just had to cheat a little bit. Now I can raise this up even a little bit higher if I need to. Something you might notice right away, which is a bit curious. You have a factory cat on the passenger side, as far as we know, and the driver's side has been replaced not that long ago. I almost wonder if it already wasn't having problems with the compression. Let's just call it the overall compression on that number one cylinder. Because they replaced the O2 sensor under warranty twice after this cat. I kept telling him, man, it sounds like it's an upstream problem on that bank. I know I'm kind of jumping around here, but it's just kind of a thought. So I'm going to take these two bolts out, and I should have enough room. Oh, also, without measuring, the diameter of this is significantly less than that one. So that might have just been the problem too. Just not enough cat for what the ECM wants to see on that bank. So anyway, let's get going. I was wondering why that thing was so tight. A shop just did this within the last year. Yeah, they cut and welded that in place is what they did. Yep. So now I get the brake stuff. It's a 16 mil, and I'm using a wobble. Obviously, everything's just gonna break. So if you're wondering how to get up in there, get a set of these. Well, got all that off. This one turned into a 15. This is from all the rust and corrosion over the years. Exhaust is off. Just kind of dangling there. Alright, so obviously you can already tell I got the belt off, I've got the power steering pump off, I have the exhaust off. Little things on the back of the head here. Looks like there's a little, just a clip holding on a piece of a harness bracket. And then this little ground deal there. Nope. Another chafed wire. This thing has chafed wires everywhere. Every injector pigtail, there's a chafed wire somewhere, where you can see bare copper. It's killing me. I don't know where to start as far, like, I want to fix all this for my buddy, but it's like, oh my God, it really just needs a harness. I got it. There's some plastic stuff. Two little plastic pins pushed into the back of the cylinder head. It just came right off that way. And our O2 sensor, our upstream will be coming with us. Also, my SD cards are dropping like flies, so I don't know if it's my GoPro or what, but everything I've recorded so far has been recovered, but I don't want to risk it. I've had an SD card completely kank out, and I had to buy special software to recover some footage, and I didn't get all of it. So anyway, let's get back to work. All right, guys, we're on my old reliable, so hopefully the footage doesn't look like it's 2008. So these are 15s. We're gonna loosen this from the outside in. Oh, ow, hit my elbow. Hey guys, I thought I would do a kind of an overlay dialogue while we're watching me hurt myself here taking the cylinder head off. In hindsight, I think it's a good idea to preface this is not exactly the right way to remove a cylinder head. The exhaust is still on, the O2 sensor is still in. You'll notice right away, if you didn't, I'm loosening the torque on the cylinder head bolts instead of removing the valve train. Again, that's more or less because all of the bolts are accessible, and I was planning on just yanking the cylinder head off the engine and letting the push rods fall everywhere. The engine I know is trash at this point. I'm just kind of in a hurry somewhat. It's only 10 extra bolts to pull the rocker shafts off. They're 10 millimeter. It really only takes like 5 minutes. But again, I wind up doing that later in the video and explaining things. But the cylinder head itself, you've got 10 15 millimeter bolts and 5 10 millimeter bolts. I put one of the cylinder head bolts back in just a little bit because I wasn't sure at the time if the block or the head were doweled. So I put that bolt in there so the cylinder head wouldn't slide too far down and bust the O2 sensor off or anything. But you can see when I try to remove it with the valve train installed, it's really the bolt that's hanging me up. Because once I finally remove the valve train, as you can see, and then I go ahead and try to lift the thing off, I'm still getting hung up on that bolt that I put in, even though it's unthreaded. It just kept getting caught on everything. Let's try that. There we go. Take 4. All right, now let's try getting the head off. What am I on? Nothing. What am I on? Nothing. Cat doesn't seem too bad from what I can see. On the driver's side anyway. But obviously, guys, it shouldn't have to be mentioned. But if you're tearing an engine apart and you're planning on using or reusing certain parts in that same engine or a donor engine, it's good to keep things in matched sets, be clean about it, be organized. You always see the guys sticking the push rods in cardboard and labeling everything. Any kind of mating surface items or interference items that are binding together one way or the other, you want to keep them matched to where they're supposed to go. But we're not going to get any further into that. This is just a teardown video of a junk engine. So, all right, guys, sorry about the AC fan going. This is number one. That's what's left of that valve seat. If you look carefully, you can see part of the piston no longer with us. Cylinder wall is gouged out pretty bad. Sorry for the shakiness. I believe that's part of the, I think that's the ring we're looking at. Anyway, that's number one. Number two, a lot of deposits. Number three, a lot of deposits in there. And number four. Now what is, oh bueno. I already took a chunk out of here. Some coolant might have been making it through there, but this is completely dry. So a lot of times if oil mixes with coolant or otherwise coolant breaking down, there's a number of reasons that can cause that. That's that brown sludge you hear about, but it's dried up at this point. I don't know if this car has some kind of heat exchanger somewhere where you can get cross-contamination like that, or of course just a head gasket failure to introduce oil into the coolant. Let's go look at the cylinder head. All right, and here's number one. You can see Mr. Valve Seat is gone compared to the others. And that is the coolant galley jacket, rather. For the head, yeah, there's your problem. The open part of your spark plug isn't facing the exhaust valve. Lose about 10 horsepower per cylinder. I'm being funny, but these you can't do that anyway, because the pre-Eagle motors have a taper seat. The Eagle motors have crush washer or just washer seats, so you can shim your spark plugs if you really want to. But yeah. Well guys, that about wraps it up for today's video. Not much left to say really. I'm gonna go ahead and continue working on pulling this engine out. I'll be recording all the way through. I gotta get some new SD cards and make sure my GoPros are good. But other than that, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. What do you think? I don't think the Ford community would be too happy with that.